Devin Hester, you are ridiculous.
The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Shut up. See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0.
Hungry Chicago, finally champions on this January day in New Orleans.
This is the Barely Qualified Podcast with your hosts, Nick Labris, Jason Maxwell, and Drew Bailey.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the Barely Qualified Podcast for the Deuces Wild Show. I'm meaning Season 2, Episode 22. Honestly, boys, going along with the theme of the game yesterday, it felt like a long session at the blackjack table with all the back and forth, ups and downs, toying with our emotions. I'm Drew Bailey. With me, as always, are Nick Labris and Jason Maxwell. Chicago Bears are gambling with our hearts, and I have to say, it has me feeling more alive than ever, everyone. But if you're listening and you were not able to watch that Bears game yesterday, that might apply to like one of our listeners, and it's the person who listens in Finland. Yes, we have a listener in Finland. But I implore you guys to all stop, go watch that. It was a enthralling 47-42 win in Cincinnati. Gets the Bears to 5-3, tied for second in the NFC North. We're going to get to a breakdown of the game, as we always do, talk a little more around the league, and then give you a podium list, a funny podium list this show. But before we get to the breakdown of the Bears game and everything else, I want to tell you a little bit about our friends over at Lola's Handcrafted Churros in downtown Lisle. Lola's offers up handcrafted churros from scratch, made to order, and piping hot. It doesn't stop there. Lola's pairs these bad boys with ice cream sundaes. We're talking s'mores churro sundaes, matcha fruity pebbles, Nutella and strawberry, and the list goes on and on. Get a sundae, get a dozen, just stop in for one. Whatever you do, you're going to love it. They have coffee, horchata, freshly made churros, ice cream, and as a wise man once said, we all know who that man is. What more can you want? Check them out at Lola, L-O-L-A, churros.com. Follow them on Insta and TikTok at Lola's Handcrafted Churros, and let us know how you like it. So let's get into it really quickly. Before we do on Mondays going forward, we are going to kind of track what's going on in the Barely Qualified Guillotine League. Nick, on the chocolate block, how are we feeling right now?
Bad, not good. Very scared. I do want to correct something you said. I'm no longer on the block. I'm at risk right now, according to Yahoo.
We're just at risk.
Right now, I am currently, if things go with projections, I am currently going to I'm going to not be chopped, but it's razor thin. Me and Eric are having a battle right now to try and stay alive. So shout out Eric. If you're anything like I am right now, just literally watching, because, we talked about this right when we started, like before we started recording. It's a full point PPR. So every single pass matters. Every single point matters. Every catch matters. So, Eric, handshake to you, man. This has been a battle, and one of us is going to lose and one of us isn't. So, we'll keep going.
Yeah, we'll continue to give, some in-game updates while the Dallas and Arizona game goes on here. Jay sitting cushy, top points of the league. I'm going to be finishing around third. But it's still hot out there. Any week to week you can lose on anything here. But Jay, do you feeling good after that performance this week?
Safe for this week, but you never know. You could go from first to worst real quick. So yeah. It doesn't matter to get first. It just matters not to get last,
Don't finish last. All right. Well, let's get into the reason why we're all here, why everyone's listening to us here. That enthralling game yesterday, 12 o'clock slate. We were all watching it intently here on the Barely Qualified podcast. But before we get into anything, I think this was a common theme of what we had last year, of what were you doing while there were some brutal losses last year, and we were commenting about what we were doing whilst we were watching those, or whilst they were going on. So I want to kick it around the horn really quick. Jay, to you first. What were you doing when that pass to Colson Loveland happened?
Fun. I think the best part about the game for me in how crazy of a game that was, I can't remember a game like that I would just watch from start to finish. My oldest daughter woke up from her nap at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and she's like, I want to watch the Bears game. I got her. We went to the city on Saturday. I actually ran a 15K on Sunday morning, and then we got home, and we were just touring around the city. So we were at Navy Pier. I got her and my youngest daughter some Bears shirts because they wanted to get them. So I was like, we're going to watch the game on Sunday. And so she wakes up for the fourth quarter and she's like, I want to watch the Bears game with you, Dad. And so that's what we were doing. It was just me and Georgia on the couch, just watching the game. And so with about 4 minutes to go, she was getting hungry. It's like, all right, I'll get you some food when the game ends. And I thought that was going to be like 10 minutes later. 4 minutes of game time took 30 minutes because it was the most incredible finish of all time. But all that to be said, in a long story longer, and in my apologies for that, but the point of it was that was really Georgia's first game that she actually sat through and was like engaged with the game on. And what a hell of a game to start, because she was counting the score. She's like, why are they losing? Why are they winning now? So it was awesome. And then, when Loveland scored the touchdown, she was actually like kind of tracking what was going on. She's like, they scored, the Bears scored. And so we were kind of going nuts together. So it was very, very fun. Not only because I had a big bet on the Bears, but also because, the Bears won and Georgia was having a fun time too. So that was, I don't know. It was very fun.
Nick, what were you doing? Just watching?
Yeah. So I on Saturday decided to get all my chores done ahead of time so I could have Sunday just to kind of watch the game. I knew this was going to be kind of the way this game went down was going to kind of determine where I thought the Bears season was going to go from here on. So I really wanted to give it my full attention. So I spent all day Saturday taking down all the Halloween decorations and actually cleaned the entire garage just so I could have that if my wife wanted to yell at me for watching the Bears game. Like, well, I cleaned the garage yesterday, so, got to put in your effort ahead of time. So I was sitting on my couch for the entirety of the game, had Red Zone on my laptop because the noon slate was just crazy. Like the Bears game was the craziest, but there was a lot of stuff going on that I had to catch up. But guys, when I tell you that this was probably the loudest, like audible noises I've made during a Bears game in probably like 7-8, like since 2018, like when Colson Loveland made that catch and he broke those tackles and was running to the end zone, I was like on my hand, like I was on my hand, like on my feet, like jumping and screaming. I haven't done that to a Bears game in a long time, and it felt really good. And my son was with me and he was very excited as well. So it was a lot of fun. There's a lot to talk about, but that moment was it was awesome. So I loved it.
Pure joy. Although the 59 seconds of game time leading up to that was pure panic and heart attack.
Yeah.
This was also the only part of the game my wife Jenny came down to watch with me. And I had my head in my hands, like, I think I'm going to give up. I think this is going to break me, those sorts of things. And then when it happened, I was joyous like you, Nick, but yet I couldn't make a noise. I couldn't. I was just like, I didn't know what to do. Ricky Bobby, his hands are in front of his face. What do I do with my hands? Yeah. I don't know what to do. And Jenny was jumping for joy, and I was just like, we don't feel this. This can't be real. Yeah. So, all just great things, good emotions. Let's break down the game. Nick, I'm going to kick it over to you to kind of dictate through that, but let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. So going into this game, the big thing we talked about was that the Bears offense, one, had to put the ball in the end zone, and two, they had to show up because the Bengals defense is, I don't know if they're historically bad statistically, but just the numbers they're giving up and the teams that are doing it to them, I'm going to call them historically bad. They're a terrible defense, the worst in the NFL. We're watching the Cardinals just carve up the Cowboys right now, and the Cowboys are significantly better than the Bengals defense. Bengals defense is absolute trash. So we knew coming into this game that the Bears had to put up, I think I said at least 24, 27 points to feel comfortable. And luckily the Bears, put up, almost 50 on the Bengals. So that was good. Couple things, like one thing the Bears did really well. We're going to the run game was just outstanding. Kyle Monangai, unbelievable. Offensive line, unbelievable. Even Britton Brown. Drew, you want to go ahead and
You sound like you're from London.
Britton Brown had a couple, the running game was unbelievable. And because the running game was so good, they were able to carve off so many chunk plays. No like big plays, no breakaway touchdowns, nothing crazy like that, but just averaging like 6 yards a carry or whatever the number ended up being is crazy for an entire game in the NFL. Because you're able to do that, you can sustain drives, right? In the first half, the Bears had a 12-play touchdown drive, an 11-play touchdown drive, a 3-and-out, 11-play field goal drive, 10 plays that missed a field goal, and then the second half, a 12-play touchdown drive, a 6-play touchdown drive, 5-play field goal drive, 2-play touchdown drive, which you'll take a 2-play touchdown drive, a 3-and-out, and then, of course, the last drive, 4 plays, touchdown at the end. So those are some long sustained drives. And one of the big themes you noticed when I said all that, a lot of those ended with a touchdown, because in this game, you're not going to win that game by kicking 4 field goals. You're just not. The Bengals can score points. We knew that going in. Bears need to put the ball in the end zone, and they did. And it was obvious from the get-go that was a big priority for the Bears, because they were pulling out all the stops to get these touchdowns. First touchdown was the Philly play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Philly special, where the double reverse pass from DJ to Caleb. They had a reverse to DJ eventually, who scored later in the game. They pulled out. Ben Johnson went deep into his bag of tricks in this game, not just on like third downs or plays they needed to score, but just kind of throughout. Caleb caught 2 passes in this game. 4 Bears threw a pass in this game. Was it 4 or was it 3? Actually,
that was 4.
Oh yeah, because Komet won too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think technically that came back for a penalty, didn't it?
No, it was just Rome dropped it.
Yeah, that's what it was. But either way, 4 Bears threw passes in this game, which is crazy. So, I mean, just in terms of the offense, guys, I just threw a lot of numbers at you guys, threw a lot of stuff at you guys. Let's talk through. I want to talk through the running game specifically, because the running game is, there's a lot of reasons the Bears won this game, but the reason they were in the position they were in at the end of the game to, only needed like 1 score to win is because the running game was so solid all game. So, Drew, I want to kick it to you first. Let's talk through. Let me hear you. What do you think about? How did you feel about Kyle Monangai after this game? Because there was some question marks. Like, we've been fans of his. We've been saying he runs hard, but being the guy in an NFL game is different than being a change of pace guy. So, what are your thoughts on seeing him out there toting the rock? Being the main guy.
Loved it. Obviously, we were talking about it during the game, a lot of different chats, and he looked like a workhorse for sure, to where they could lean on him. He's got young, fresh legs. There's limited tape in the league out there for him, too. So that's obviously working to your advantage. I doubt that you're going to see this much success consistently with him, just because now there is tape out there. You're
not playing the Bengals anymore.
Correct. Yeah, you're not playing the Bengals. I think what I enjoyed seeing, and you didn't catch it, or at least I didn't catch it all in game, was the offensive line was mauling people. Again, it's Cincinnati's defensive line. They have Shamar Stewart, rookie out of Texas A&M that we were talking about in the draft. Yep. That dude looked like an absolute buffoon on the defensive line. Like, he's falling down everywhere. He got pancaked 3 separate times. Like, the offensive line was mauling people, which was amazing to see. But Kyle Monangai, like, at the end of the game, saying nobody knew what he was going to do and he wants to keep coming out and doing it. it gives me the confidence to say to DeAndre, get healthy. It's okay. You can take as much time off as you need to get healthy, because I think we have a serviceable guy. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is we have another reason to thank Cincinnati. Yeah, I know that was very interesting. But we have another reason to thank Cincinnati because we traded Khalil Herbert for the 7th round pick that we picked Kyle Monangai on. So gave him a little taste of that one.
Yeah, and also just to kind of back that stat up, I saw something going around the internet that Kyle Monangai had more yards in this game than Khalil Herbert had in his entire Bengals tenure. So definitely a good trade for the Bears. So Monangai, the numbers ended up being, I didn't touch on his actual stat line, but he had 26 carries, 176 yards. That averages almost over 6.5 yards per carry. That's just unbelievable. That's crazy that the offensive line, like the running game was just so good. Drew, you touched on it. The offensive line was so good. The interior line, specifically guard to guard, like all three of the guards and the center just were mauling people. I don't know if you guys follow Brian Baldinger on social media at all. He's a NFL guy who does tape. He watches tape, and he had like a 5-minute like highlight reel of the Bears offensive line just mauling the Bengals D line and the second level. It was awesome. So, Jay, I'm going to kick it over to you now. Obviously, Kyle Monangai had an awesome game. Caleb, though, I thought, there were some issues that maybe not the most accurate, but like, again, I don't think that's I still think we're seeing progress from Caleb. Obviously, like you look at the stats, you look at the numbers, but like, what did you see out of Caleb Williams specifically in this game that either gave you hope or that you're kind of nervous about going forward?
Yeah, I think you can have a little bit of both. I mean, you put up 47 points and you can't be too critical, and you put up a stat line of 283 touchdowns, no picks, and you can't be too critical, right?
Right.
Unless you're Adam Archuleta, and we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yes, we will. Don't you worry, Adam. We're going to get to you.
No, but like, I think I tend, and we can be a little bit more nitpicky there. It's like things could be cleaned up, but things can be cleaned up from every quarterback's perspective. And, was he scrambling and kind of running around? Sure. But you take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. And was he extending plays and making great plays and making the right plays in the clutch time? Absolutely. Like, he's a big reason that the Bears won that game. Obviously with the run game being established and the balance of the Ben Johnson offense, I thought it was a good game. I don't think it was a great game from him. I wouldn't say it's an A+ game, but like, I think it's a solid kind of like B game, and that'll pay the bills. If you could get a B level output from your quarterback every game in the NFL, you're gonna have a good chance to win. And again, he didn't turn the ball over. There wasn't those crazy intentional groundings, and his scrambling ability prolonged plays rather than putting plays in jeopardy this game. So I thought it was I really did. I thought it was a good game is how I would describe it.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. So speaking of Caleb, I said I was going to kind of keep everybody posted so they didn't have to do the numbers themselves. But Caleb on the season now, again, just want to get this storyline to bed and to be over with. Caleb is now officially on pace for over 4,000 yards. So that's awesome news. So he's on pace for 4,071 yards right now, which means he needs about 232 yards per game to get to 4,000, which again, we talked about last week. It's a very manageable number. Also on pace for 26 touchdowns and 9 picks, which is, I think, like, you get a 4,000 yard passer with 26 touchdowns and 9 picks. Like, that is probably going to be the best year in Bears quarterback history. I can't imagine that anything would be better. Would love to see that number get to 30 touchdowns, but I'm not going to push it. Let's just go for 4,000 and we'll deal with 30 touchdowns later. But anyway,
the one thing I just wanted to say on Caleb is, again, going back from a couple of weeks ago that we talked about it, the touch on some of his shorter throws, or the decision to throw the bullet, is way too quick in my mind. Still, Like he throws everything with everything that he's got behind his arm sometimes. And it's just, that's part of the decision making too, on the accuracy on all of these things. But it still does concern me that like there are a couple of plays that it looks like a guaranteed throw. If you put a little loft underneath the ball and you're throwing it at 90 miles per hour right into somebody's chest.
That's 100% right, Drew. I mean, he does not have any touch. Like, I shouldn't say that. He does when he wants to, but it's the decision to just laser things way too frequently, and like that's it. And again, that's not even too nitpicky, but like that's just true. It is true, but it's okay. When you put up 47, I'm going to say it's okay.
Yeah. I think that'll come with time too. I think just, familiarity in the NFL and familiarity with your wide receivers and pass catchers and stuff. I think that'll come. So that would be nice to see, but it's not something that I'm really worried about long term. And I'll say this about Caleb. When Caleb drops back and fires it, like if it's a 5-step drop and he hits that 5th step, puts his right foot in the ground and just and unleashes a ball, it's clean and it looks awesome. And it looks like this is the number one guy. This is the guy we took number one. There are a lot of times where he's clearly looking for his first read. His first read's not there. And there's just a little bit of panic that creeps in. And then it's just kind of like lingering in the pocket, roll out and try and make a play on the run. So I'd like to see him be able to process his reads a little bit faster, but it's nothing. I was nervous to bring this up because when you say talking about having issues, processing reads, your mind, at least my mind, immediately would go to like Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, who literally could not do that. It just did not exist for those guys. And I don't think it's the same. It's not the same. Caleb can do it. I think that he just needs to get off his first read faster when it's not there. Because like I said, there's a lot of times where he looks at the first read. If it's not there, he kind of like hesitates for a split second. And then you can see the panic where he's like kind of got the happy feet in the pocket. Then he rolls out and stuff. So I'd like to see more, like I said, at the top of this, like when he just drops back, puts that foot in the ground and lets it go. Like it looks like an NFL quarterback. It looks exactly what you want. It looks like watching pick your, and like Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, like whatever, like anybody that can do this, like it looks very clean. It's just, we need to get more consistent with that. So, one thing I'll say is that we've gone about 20 minutes into the show and we haven't mentioned Colson Loveland's name yet. And I think that's probably an oversight.
Well, we said it a couple of times in the final play.
Touchdown. Yeah, that's true. Colson Loveland, looked like a top 10 pick today. Not only like obviously the big catch at the end of the game, but he actually had a pretty decent game besides that. He had 70 yards, 60 yards, something like that with a touchdown outside of that one play at the end of the game. So that's a good game right there. But then you obviously add like a 48-yard touchdown or whatever it was. Was it 60? I don't even know how long the last touchdown was. I should. But either way, Colson Loveland looks like a top 10 pick, and he looks like a guy who actually can contribute to your team moving forward. So, Jay, I'm going to kick it back to you. I feel like we, and not just we on this podcast, but we as Bears fans have been a little critical of taking a weapon that is not being utilized properly in the top 10 of the draft this year. So, Jay, do you think that like a game like this kind of like, okay, now that I can like see what we got here, we're going to ease back a little bit? Or are you still kind of like, we need to see a lot more of this? Like, where are you at with Colson Loveland and just like the idea of him being the 10th pick in the draft this year still?
Yeah. Nick, that's an awesome question. I'm still a little, it's tough for me to say this because it's such a fantastic game, but like I still just at its core, I don't love selecting like a tight end top 10. I don't love the whole process of it. But that doesn't mean I have to be jaded by the fact that wasn't awesome in an awesome performance, and that Loveland showed that he can be excellent. That is fantastic. I think Kmet being knocked out of the game and him being able to step up and command a lot of the targets and convert on a lot of that. Obviously, that last play was like elite. Like he's just you're having two defenders try to tackle you and just be like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm, Superman, and we're just going to take this into the end zone. Fantastic. So like, yeah, that certainly, that performance helps me to say I can be a little less critical of the pick, right? I can have some optimism there. But to answer the questions, like I still don't love I still don't love taking a tight end top 10, even if Loveland is fantastic. And it looks like he can be fantastic. Like I don't doubt that he can't be great. And this helps to kind of prove and share it, like the hope that he's going to be excellent, if not elite. But I hope that answers the question. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Jay, that like you look at some of these tight ends, like there's a tight end in this game in Trey McBride, top 4 tight end. I would say probably top 2 tight end with him and Brock Bowers in the league. And you look at Colson Loveland, you don't see that. There's a flash in this game that what could be if it's consistent. The problem is with the Bears right now is there's just so many mouths, and you don't know, like, that Colson Loveland is not going to be the number 1 target every week. Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, some of these other tight ends that are in place on other teams are definitely going to be that and warrant that. Colson Loveland, even in year 2, even if he finishes the season and has a good serviceable season, I don't know if you're going to have that in him just because of the scheme, because of everything else. But still, it's amazing to see that there are some dividends paying off because it's your number 10 pick and you want to see something immediately. And finally we get it in game 8. So yeah, we're still reserved on it. It's still like I don't feel great about the pick, but it's amazing to see some dividends right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't expect him to go out there and, have 118 yards and 2 touchdowns in every game or anything like that. But just knowing that that's in there. And also, like, I think that like you look at that game winning catch, right? I think that does show some skills that a lot of tight ends probably don't have, right? That one of the reasons why we did take him in the top 10 is because Colson Loveland, people were saying he's better at running the deep routes, right? Like Tyler Warren, he's going to be more of your traditional possession tight end. Maybe he can get some carries for you as well from the backfield. But then Colson Loveland is going to be basically a big wide receiver who's got the speed to go and run the deep routes. And, that was all fine and good at the draft. But then you go out there and you see, okay, he ran a deep post in the most clutch moment you possibly could, bounced off 2 tacklers because he got these, safeties and corners trying to tackle a giant tight end in the open field. And he can just bounce right off that. And then he's got the speed to outrun the other corners and safeties that are not trying to tackle him. So I do think that you in that one play, you do get a glimpse of the future of this guy. And like, okay, I can actually like visualize like why they took him in the top 10, because he kind of is the whole package as a tight end. Receiving wise anyway. So I definitely like seeing that play and seeing his potential made me think like, okay, I never really gave the Tyler Warren versus Colson Loveland battle a lot of credence just because it's a totally different offense. He's like the number 1 option, like you just said, Drew, but like, it's just, he's a different guy. And I think this kind of showed it. And I think that there is a high ceiling for Colson Loveland. So I'm happy to see him contributing and having that monster game this weekend.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, Drew, one thing that stood out to me too is like there are a lot of mouths to feed on this offense. And so success doesn't need to be dictated by traditional statistics, catches and touchdowns and yards and things like that. Like Rome goose egg this week.
Yeah.
And Loveland didn't, right? But they still put up 47 points. And it's not, this offense doesn't have to go through one person. And the ability to have so many different tentacles that can be fed, not have to be fed. It's the offense. It's the points that go up on the board that matter, not the individual statistics. And when you have, a Loveland, and again, like, hey, pick him top 10 and he can still impact, even if he's not putting, points on the board or stats on the stat sheet. And just like Adunze, it's like, and not to go too off in a tangent, but like a Dunze was blocking the shit out of people to extend some of those runs and wide receiver screens and things like that. So it's like this is what's exciting about this team is like it's the ability to put points on the board and not have to be recognized on the stat sheet. And that really is like the Ben Johnson offense. And that's how it was in Detroit too. So I don't know. I agree with you, Nick. I think you said it very well too. I think it gets me more optimistic about Loveland and his ability. Like you saw that on that one play, like you said, of why they kind of might maybe stretched and took him 10. Let's go. Right. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. So another player that I think had a really good game that we haven't really, I don't think we've said this name at all. DJ Moore had a nice game, right? DJ Moore threw a touchdown. DJ Moore ran a touchdown. He had 4 catches for 72 yards. That's a crazy game that we haven't even touched on for the first half hour of the show. Like it's just this team. I mean, when you score 47 points, there's going to be a lot of stats to go around, but I do want to make sure DJ Moore gets shouted out because that was an unbelievable effort by him. I can't remember. I don't think he's ever thrown a pass before, at least not for the Bears.
I haven't seen it for the Bears for sure.
I can't recall it.
Yeah. So he slung that thing in there too. So actually, no, the Komet one, that was the laser. Komet threw a laser.
Dude, Komet's got a cannon.
Well, he pitched. He got drafted by the White Sox.
Yeah.
So
lefty too.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That was weird to see. But yeah, so DJ Moore, nice game. Zacchaeus, nice game, 6 catches, 58 yards, a touchdown. Jay, like you said, Rome Odunze, who's been pretty much the unquestioned number 1 target for the Bears pass catchers this season, completely left out. Had a couple, I think he had like 3 or 4 targets on the entire game, maybe more, but he didn't have any catches. So it's wild to see that. But like you said, just kind of goes to show the Ben Johnson offense. You don't really need to go through one person, just, ride the hot hand. And in this case, the hot hand was Common Unguy. And so
Nick, I wanted to touch on the first play, the whatever Philly special, whatever we want to call it, Chicago special. We were texting each other, I think more this game than we have in any game so far this year, which is great. And I want it to continue. It just depends on all the things that we have going on in life. Did you feel that, and I got your point, did you feel that the bag of tricks to get touchdowns was, that was still, looking back on it, that was still a little early to pull that out or to get into trick plays in the first series of offense? Or like, are you kind of now going forward just going to be like, I don't care, whatever to get in the end zone, whatever to do, it doesn't matter at this point. You can throw me out some hooks and ladders at any time.
Yeah. I mean, the like meatball part of my brain is like run the ball, force it down their throat, let them know what's coming. Who cares about this like fancy, but also get the ball in the end zone. Number 1, we talk about it. If they why they needed to score touchdowns. So whatever they needed to do to score touchdowns. But on top of that, this is the Bengals. They probably didn't need to do that against the Bengals. They probably could have just smash mouth ran the ball between the tackles and scored like from inside the 5. But I do think that in future weeks, when you're playing good teams, now when the Bears have the ball in the red zone, inside the 10, inside the 5, you're not just like, okay, I can just put 9 guys in the box and make them, man up and beat us. Like they have to be like, okay, anything is in play. They'll do literally anything here. So they do have to like kind of be prepared for anything, which makes them a little bit less stout up the middle, which makes it easier to run up the middle. So it's, you should put it on film and now it's out there. So I think that's a good thing. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that if the Bears needed to put the ball in the end zone, like 3 or 4 tries from like inside of 5 on a running play, I think they could have done it against the Bengals. But just getting that stuff on tape, I think it's going to be beneficial down the line.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, I think that's a great point. I think too, what the reason why I am cool with all of the trick plays too is they worked. They didn't result in turnovers, but also they really established a hell of a run. It wasn't like, hey, we need to do these trick plays because we can't get anything going. It's like, hey, by the way, you can't stop the run, and now you have something else to worry about too. So it's like if you're the Bengals, it's like you're just in this vortex tornado of like, I don't know, I can't stop anything, and they're doing this to me. Like, what the hell is going on? So like, I sometimes with the trick plays, like you just, like you said, stick to football, get away from the cute crap. But it was smash mouth football that also enabled these trick plays to be so successful, because now I have to stop the run, and now I'm giving up presence on the outside, and maybe I'm playing man to man when I shouldn't be, or things like that. So I thought it was nice. I don't think, and again, it's like these things are on tape, but it's Ben Johnson. Those are always those things are more prone to happen in the Ben Johnson offense. I don't think it gives away, too much, honestly, I personally. And at the end of the day, it's like, shit, we gave up 42 points. You might have needed to, you kind of needed to pull out everything you had to win this game. So I was cool with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of the attitude you got to take, right? Drew, did you have any, like, what were you asked the question? What did you think? Do you think they wasted their trick plays?
No, it was nice to see multiple trick plays in a game that was a shootout. But more than that, just that trick plays in my mind make it seem like you've got success in one aspect, so why not? Let's try it. Let's try to have something pay off big. And like, if it doesn't work, okay, like trick plays are easy. I mean, sometimes we see them blow up in the NFL and it looks awful, but I feel like the trick plays that they were doing weren't like, it seemed like high percentage trick plays. You had a pass back to Caleb where you could have thrown the ball away or thrown the ball deep downfield. Caleb seemed to be the easy option for Tyson Bagent. The Cole Kmet one, and then the Philly special seems to be one that like almost works to 100%. 100%. Like, I've seen so many teams run it, and it's like, what? Like, the quarterback's right there. It's like, yeah, why? It doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, it was nice to see multiple trick plays, and because I feel like when Ben Johnson is in a groove, that's when they come out. So that's what I liked the most of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Ben Johnson was definitely in his bag a little bit on Sunday. But okay. So we talked a lot about the offense. I don't know if you guys have anything you want to add to the offense before we move on to somebody who probably wasn't really in their bag very much, was Bears defense this week. Bears defense, 42 points given up. It actually looked not bad for the first, 3 quarters and 11, 12 minutes. It actually, it wasn't great, but they gave up one big play, the big T. Higgins catch, which was an unbelievable catch, by the way, in the first half. And then the kick return. Besides that, they really gave up just like 2 drives that ended up in touchdowns up until the last, 2 minutes of the game. So I don't know. The Bears defense, I think the stats did them pretty bad. I think the crew did them very bad, but also I think they were just terrible. Like that 2 minutes, like all of that could have went wrong. So the Bears. So Bears defense, they did have another 3 takeaways, which is good. Which is that brings their season total up to plus 13 turnover differential, which is pretty good. 19 total turnovers for the Bears defense. Montez Sweat had, what do you have, 3 sacks in this game? 2 sacks in this game? He had a couple sacks at least.
Just one.
He just had one.
I thought he had a couple. Oh,
it was almost the strip sack, but it turned into incompletion.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Anyway, so Montez Sweat, he did have a sack. He showed up. Booker, our guy, he had a nice strip sack. Who we were just talking about him, Austin Booker. Is he a regular season guy too, as well as I don't know. He flashed a little bit. That was the only play I saw him on, so I don't know if he played any other.
I'm with you.
But
a big one.
I mean, way to get your, way to get, flash on Sunday though. The Bengals couldn't really run the ball to any sustained success, but God damn it, Joe Flacco can still sling that thing back there. It's unbelievable. He's 40 years old, whatever he is. He threw for 470 yards. And God, I mean, I know we talked about this a lot on the preview show on Thursday, but the Bengals had like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are two of the best receivers in the NFL. They're like, I didn't think I always knew T. Higgins was a good fantasy player, but I don't really watch a lot of Bengals games. Some of those catches T. Higgins was making was unbelievable, especially that long touchdown. Like I couldn't believe it.
His second touchdown.
It looked like he just like put his hands out randomly and the ball just fell in there. Like I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
But it wasn't like it was absurd. It was an absurd catch.
It really was. So, I mean, not a lot we could Tyreek could do on that play. I mean, just T. Higgins like a foot taller than him and just has like his arms look like they're the longest of all time, and he just grabbed that thing out of thin air. I do think Tyreek did not have a great game, but again, I kind of said this going in, like Tyreek is our number one corner out of necessity. He's not our number one corner going into the season, going against two teams that arguably have number one receivers on both sides of the field. I mean, I didn't think he was going to have a great game, and I think that's okay. One thing I want to call out though, because this is, I saw it happen in real time, and I could not believe it. The force down on Tremaine Edmonds' interception that could have iced the game for good was one of the weakest. I mean, it's not a wrong call, but it was one of the weakest things I've ever seen. Like, who was it? Was it T. Higgins or Jamar Chase or Chase Brown?
It was Chase Brown.
Yeah, it was Chase Brown.
Chase Brown just was trying to catch the ball and coincidentally touched Tremaine Edmonds as he was falling down, and it took away a touchdown. That honestly, if that touchdown stands, all we're talking about is the Bears just dominating the Bengals, no other conversation being had. But instead the Bears go 3 and out there, and then all hell breaks loose. So I do want to talk through the bad 2 minutes really quick. I think that's important to talk about. So again, if you didn't listen, for our listener in, what did you say, Finland, Sweden? Where's our listener at? Finland? Yeah, Bears kicked the ball back to the Bengals with just over 2 minutes left, up by 14 points. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, this doesn't matter. Whatever the Bengals do here doesn't matter, because the Bears have been running the ball all day on them. So, and the Bengals were out of timeouts, or maybe had like one timeout left. It was not a full timeout situation. So all I knew, I'm like, all right, the Bears will just get the ball back. They'll run it out. They'll be fine. Bengals go down. They score literally like they're playing against air in practice. And then they recover the onside kick, an onside kick that went 8 yards. It didn't even go the full 10. And then the Bengals go down. They score again. They get the 2-point conversion. On the first touchdown. They're up by 1. And all hope is lost. So for those 2 minutes, Drew, I'm going to kick it over to you. Like, what? I know you kind of talked earlier about like you had your hands and your head in your hands, but like, did this kind of feel similar to like the Commanders Hail Mary game, where it's like, this is impossible, what's going on? Or was it just like a totally different thing?
It similar feelings, just different. Like, it was helpless energy out there. Of knowing that like, what's coming. Like, they're gonna get the ball back. They're gonna go down and score. I think the one thing that they tried to do towards the end is they tried to, when they got the onside kick, they tried to. The miracle was that the Bears still had 2 timeouts in that final drive, because if they didn't have those timeouts, you're looking at a touchdown, 0 seconds, maybe 7 seconds left to go. But when they didn't score on first down and the Bears stopped the clock, they knew the Cincinnati Bengals had to get the ball in the end zone. And then they did. But that was a miracle, because Bears don't have those timeouts. You probably don't make those 2 plays, that drive. You're a little bit more rushed. But that helpless energy out there, Nick, was just it was palpable. You could feel it coming. It felt like this was the story that, I'll put my tinfoil hat on, this was the story that the NFL wanted. They wanted Joe Flacco. They wanted him old man comeback, and make it good for a team. And Caleb snatched that from them. Caleb and Colston snatched that from them. And I have to say, it was really satisfying more than anything to see the Bengals players, Jamar Chase and Chase Brown specifically, turning on their team and on their defense. Jamar Chase, not as much, but Chase Brown in the locker room after just being like, how hard is it to get a stop? Get a stop. Just stop the ball. Like, one, you're not a defensive player. Two, like, they're bigger than you, so dude, don't talk shit in the locker room that you're going to see them every single day. But yeah, something's gotta give in these moments of like, I don't want these heart attack games at the end all the time, because it seems like it's only inevitable before the negatives start rolling over just from my Bears thoughts of my brain.
Yeah. I mean, Jay, where were you at mentally during the collapse in those last 2 minutes?
I mean, I was for sure thinking we were going to lose the game.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, like you said, there was no defense in the last 2 minutes, and I don't know what the hell anyone was doing. Honestly, the Bears probably should have lost that game, right? I mean, the Loveland touchdown, thank God, but with 17 seconds left, I was even like, there's still a chance we lose this game until there were zeros on the clock. I was like, I don't know if we're going to win this game. It was terrifying. It was great all at the same time. It was a hell of a game, but you got to, you celebrate the win, but like, you can't let that happen. Like, a minute and 43 and they go down, no timeouts left for the Bengals, and they just carve you up. Play after play, chunk yard after chunk yard. The onside kick, unfortunate, but then the defense still has to get some stops. You can't just do nothing. And so miraculously, Caleb and Loveland got us into the end zone, but that probably should have been disastrous. And it wasn't. Thank God. We'll take it. We'll celebrate. We'll take the win. But that's not how it should have been. I will go back to this though, because I hated the fact that the touchdown was the pick six was taken off the board. Like, I really do agree with you, Nick, and I want to harp on that a little bit. Like, there should be a rule in the NFL where like you have to have intent to actually tackle someone to be called down.
Yes.
That was not the intention of Chase Brown. There was not to tackle. Was it Tremaine Edmonds?
Yeah.
Like, come on. And if that's the case, then you're up by 21 and the game's over. And it truly could have, should have been disastrous. Miraculously wasn't. But that was too much. I'm still shaken from that game,
Yeah. Yeah. And then also to any of our listeners, watchers, whatever, just I have officially been chopped. It's over. The guillotine has called my name. So I am officially out. I hope you guys enjoy my list of you have Jamar Chase, he's pretty good, but besides that, really just a miracle that I made it this long. So a lot of fun this season. We'll talk more about it later. Oh, Eric is in the chat. Shout out, Eric. We battled, buddy. Good job. You won. God, that was brutal. That was a brutal way to go out. But hey, you know what? You don't win them all, right? So
we got 9 weeks in without one of us going out. I think that probably would have been an over under, probably closer to like 6 or 4.
Oh yeah.
But,
yeah. I mean, I was almost the first one chopped, so I definitely deserve to not be in like the super late in this. So I'm happy with what I got. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy my players. One thing I do want to talk about, get back to the Bears game a little bit. One thing I want to talk about is I do think the Bears special teams was absolutely atrocious in this game. And I definitely think it's worth talking about. So obviously the first play of the game, Bengals return a kick for a touchdown. Cairo Santos has another field goal blocked and the botched onside kick. 3 just terrible like plays. These are like, 3 plays you don't like a blocked field goal that happens sometimes, but like a kick return these days like doesn't happen anymore, and nobody recovers onside kicks anymore. I mean, it was never an easy thing to do, and it's even harder now. So to have all 3 of those things happen, I mean, if you could have parlayed all 3 of those things, you'd be a fucking millionaire with like a $5 bet.
Not a
Like,
chance.
like, so the special teams, like it needs to get better. And that doesn't even talk about how, like, you know, Drew, your guy, Devin Duvernay is just not, he just runs into walls. Apparently. Like, I don't know how that guy navigates his regular life because he clearly can't find like an open hallway. So the Bears special teams like is a problem. Now I'm not one like special teams is important. Obviously it's a third of the game, kind of, not by statistics, but you know, it's a third phase. But special teams is one of those things where if you have bad special teams, it really doesn't like you might lose some games because of it, but like, you know, that's like a playoff team problem. I feel like if you're a playoff team and you got bad special teams, that's when it can like, okay, this is your weakness. So I'm not like super concerned about it because all I want to see this year again is seeing the offense get better, see some of the young defensive players get better. But man, the special teams is a problem. And we've been talking about it for a few weeks, pretty much all season. I think, you know, Cairo Santos seems like a nice guy. Seems like a good dude. He's an accurate-ish kicker. But man, we need a kicker of the leg. It's like that simple. Like the field goal that got blocked was, I think, like a 41-yard field goal, and it was blocked from like the line of scrimmage. That should not need to be that low trajectory from that distance.
Exactly.
So,
and that doesn't even take into consideration the other field goal that Cairo missed that was redeemed because of a penalty. You know,
that's right. Yeah, he did miss one that was taken back. That was called back. You're right. Good call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's tough. There was some side text from Sam too saying, get Moody back on the team. You had the text of the day also when McPherson missed his field goal that I don't even remember how long it was, but it wasn't that long, and he just missed it.
Yeah, it was like a 52-yard or something.
Yeah, he missed it like he would have missed it from 48. It was like it was right on the money, and it was like, wait, why did the ref say it was no good? Because it was short. And what did you say? Like, did Cairo Santos
like switch uniforms? And
yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I was watching and I saw the kick going right down the middle, and I like looked down at my phone or something like that. Like, okay, he made that kick. Like I didn't, you know, like Evan McPherson's a good kicker. Like he's not a guy who you'd think we have to worry about from 52 yards. So when he missed that field goal, when that field goal was straight, I looked down and I looked up and they were waving their arms no good. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I just landed short. It was wild. But yeah,
the second kick that Cairo had, that got waved off, that might have been the worst kick I've ever seen an NFL kicker have.
Yeah.
The one he hooked to the left that missed by about 25 yards.
It looked like you guys remember that Paul Edinger kick when the wind was really
yes. Yeah. Except there were no 50-mile-an-hour crosswinds this time.
There were no winds that day. No wind howling off the lake on Sunday. It was bad. So I mean, Cairo seems like I said, he seems like a nice guy, and I hope he does well personally. But God, I don't know if Jake Moody's the answer. I don't. He does seem to have a bigger leg at least. And he looked good in the 2 games he played for the Bears. So I'm definitely willing to give him a shot. I don't know what the answer is. I definitely don't want to draft a kicker. Like, I think that's kind of out of the question. I mean, not with this front office, but I don't want that to happen. I don't know. But Cairo Santos is not your long-term kicker. Like, he just can't be. You need to be able to have we'll talk about it eventually, but the Jaguars kicked a 68-yard field goal this weekend. The Cowboys lined up for a 68-yard field goal, and he had the leg. He just pulled it left a little bit. Like, not saying we need to have a kicker that can kick almost 70 yards, but like I think making a kick, getting someone out there that you can trot out there for a 58-yard field goal and not have to be like, there's like a 0% chance this is going to even reach the end zone. You know what I mean? Like I'd like to have a kicker with a leg, especially since it seems like that's kind of where the league's going right now.
Yes. Also, the whatever you want to call it, the stat or you know, the going into the first half or this whatever it was, they're like, the ball needs to go to the 23-yard line for Cairo Santos to have, and it wasn't actually what they meant, but it was.
But it was what they meant.
Like, yeah, it's actually not unrealistic. You gotta.
Yeah.
Place he's accurate is inside the 30.
Because Drew, you said like you called it out, like they put the line down on like the 39-yard line or something like that.
No, Jay corrected it to where, oh yeah, they put the line down on the 30, but they were doing this alternate stat of like saying like they need this to get to this, which
Yeah,
I've never
okay.
seen anyone do.
Yeah.
They just do the normal line. But I thought they were saying he needs to get to the 21-yard line or something like that for his range. And I was just like, yeah, that's probably true.
Honestly, that I wouldn't even be that comfortable with a 40-yard because that's a 40-yard field goal from the 23-yard line. So I'm not comfortable with a 40-yard field goal. So I mean, honestly, you try Cairo Santos out there, I'm probably going to be sweating until the ball goes in.
Oh yeah,
it's like there's really no distance or spot on the field where I'm like I'm feeling pretty good. But anyway, so that was the Bears special team talk. Get Jake Moody out there. What could it hurt? I mean, I don't think he's the answer, but maybe he will be. Who knows? Not the last thing. A couple things I want to talk about still. Penalties, better, I guess. Didn't hit our 6.5 number that Jay set. We were just over at 7. Although, to be fair, the Bears had like 5 penalties declined in this game, so it was actually closer to like 12 penalties in the game. But 7 penalties for 43 yards, which it doesn't. I think what I'm expecting, like what I think is bad, has like changed this season because of how bad the Bears have been. So 7 penalties for 43 yards doesn't seem that bad to me.
43 is the number, right? Like
Yeah, right.
We'll live with that.
So yeah, that's not bad. 4 of the penalties were of the pre-snap variety. Again, so you'd love to sit here and say like, okay, the last 2 games they've been on the road, so it's tough with the road. But 1, this happens at home, and 2, there were a lot of Bears fans in Cincinnati. I don't know if you guys like heard the audio of that like Colson Loveland touchdown. It was very loud in there, so there was a lot of Bears fans there. So I don't think the Cincinnati fans were making it hard to like hear the snap count or anything like that. I really don't. So really need to clean that up. It's just, in this game we were able to overcome, but that's not always going to be the case. So let's stop the penalties. Again, please, begging, hands and knees, please stop.
Yeah, Nick, one thing I wanted to throw out there too, like, and not to be the rain cloud over an awesome win, like that was one of the most fun games I've ever watched as a Bears fan. Like it or not, like that was just, and that was the game of the week in the NFL, like by a landslide, I feel. Yeah. But you can't play like the Bears are playing and have special teams suck and the defense suck and the offense carries you. Like you can't do that against good teams. And the Bengals, thankfully, are not a great team, a good team. And like the schedule's only going to get harder. You got to clean up the penalties. You got to have a defense that can stop a 2-minute drill. You got to have a lot of things under control here. And I don't want to say that it's cause for concern, but it kind of is, going forward. You gotta take the win and celebrate it in the locker room. But you got to say, like, guys, we can't have sustained success and be a winning football team if we're going to shoot ourselves in the foot like this, And that's the scary part is you can eke out the win. And listen, what we wanted to do in the pre-show is like have the offense showed up. They did that. The defense had good moments, and then they didn't. And, it reminded me a lot of the Vikings game in week 1. It's like you did everything right for 3.5 quarters, and then you did everything wrong on one side of the ball or the specialty or whatever it is. So it's like, I don't know. I don't want to get too negative, but like there's just
don't go down that road.
To get cleaned up.
Don't go down that road. Just completely.
I'm Spider-Man. Help me.
The thing I'll say about the defense and the special team is, one, the special teams is, like Nick said earlier, it's a small component of the game. You can't lose every time every time your special teams goes out there, though. You just can't, because that could have some effect. But with the defense, like, we're not expecting much out of this defense, and they've actually given us a benefit that we've not seen or that no other team in the NFL has seen to this point, the most takeaways in the league. And that's what you can hope for out of this defense right now, because they're injury prone. We have gaping holes everywhere. So you can at least take the ball away and give more possessions to your offense, then I think this is a serviceable way to win for the team that we have. I would love to see, just like the Bears of old, I would love to see a smash mouth defense with a all-time offense. Unfortunately, something's got to give with these teams early right now for the Bears as they continue to develop. So I will sacrifice the defense and special teams for the offense, which we have not seen the likes of this in a long time.
Great point.
Yeah, great point. Way to reel us back in a little bit, Drew. Appreciate it. Yeah, definitely needed that. Little cleanup still. Couple injuries in this game. Dayo Odiengbo torn Achilles, out for the year. That stinks, but also,
are we gonna miss him? Like, who are you? With all due respect,
with all due respect, of course. Cole Kmet suffered a concussion as well on a play. We're gonna get to Adam Archuleta in a minute. Adam Archuleta was disgusted by the throw. I didn't think it was that bad of a throw. I always thought Cole Kmet was kind of like awkward about catching the ball anyway. So like, it just feels like sometimes if it's not perfect, he's awkward about it. So that play he got hurt, I thought nothing really there it wasn't a perfect throw, and he kind of caught it awkwardly. So it is what it is. But I hope he recovers quickly. Concussion's tricky. You never know. He might be back on Sunday. He might miss 3 weeks. You never know. So hopefully he comes back quick. But then one last thing I wanted to talk about, and Drew, I'm glad you put him as a bullet point, because I do think that without Ben Johnson, like Ben Johnson has made such a big difference to this team. You look at games like this, you look at games like the Raiders game, you look at games like what is another one? The Commanders game. These are games we talked about after both of those two games specifically. These are games that the Bears lose in our life, like pretty much like always in our lifetime. These are games where things don't go perfectly. A play needs to be made. It isn't, and the Bears lose. That's just kind of how our lives have been, give or take a couple of years here or there. Ben Johnson even said it when he was like doing his post game, like game ball breakdown thing. He even said, like, one thing I know for sure is that when it's a close, like when it's a one, like if we're close in the fourth quarter, we're going to win that game. And that's crazy to hear, because this has not been the Bears ever. Like, the Bears are the team that is close in the game, and then something stupid happens and they lose, or Justin Fields fumbles a ball as he's sacked and the Bears lose, or one of the wide receivers catches it and they like try and go for extra yards and the ball gets punched out, or Mitch Trubisky misses a wide open guy in the end zone. Like, there's all kinds of, like, we've seen it all. I feel like we've run the gamut for everything. But seeing the Bears, that's 3 games this season that they have won that they had no business really winning. And I think it's just awesome to see. Like, it's just we've been steadfast in the belief that Ben Johnson is the guy. And honestly, there's something very freeing about that, because as much as I like Caleb and as high as I am on Caleb, we don't have to put our entire hope into Caleb being the guy, because we know Ben Johnson's the guy, and we know that Ben Johnson, if Caleb's not the guy, he's going to get the guy to replace Caleb. Because I honestly, that's how I feel about Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson is going to be here for a long time, and I think that no matter what happens anywhere else on the field, he's going to get it figured out. And that's just, I don't know, maybe that's just overly optimistic, but that's just how I feel about Ben Johnson. So I don't know if Drew, I know you had more stuff on here. I don't know if you wanted me to read through the whole thing, but like, is there anything else you wanted to add to Ben Johnson and just like how much of a difference he's making this season on this team?
No, it just more of what you're echoing on, Nick, is we've had some coaches in Chicago sports, period. Like, and a lot of them, but like, we've had some good energy coaches. We've had some good leaders. We've had some good just regular Chicago guys that seem to fit into the city. Ben Johnson just feels like he just feels like the right person for the situation that we're in, more than any other Chicago coach that I've seen come into a situation. So yeah, I I'm with you, and I echo the fact that no matter what, even if things are bad with Ben Johnson at the helm of this team, there is going to be a direction for or path for success, which I don't think we've ever had as a Chicago Bears fan in our lifetime. It's been more of just like, yep, we'll see how the season turns out, and if we're good, we're good. If we're bad, we're real bad. Ben Johnson seems like there is a step ladder or a ladder of success that is going to happen in sequence, and we are going to see this team get there at some point or another. So yeah, he says the right things, at least in my mind, and he has the right mentalities from all of what I've been seeing so far. So I'm gonna fall behind him as a fan and say that's our guy.
Yeah. Jay, any Ben Johnson thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect storm. You have the energy, the mentality of getting the most out of your players, but you also in we saw it in this game, and Drew, you kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier too. The Bears had timeouts at the end of the game to extend the game. And something as simple as that is a rarity, I think, for Bears coaches in the last decade and a half, right? To be able to say, like, if that was an Eberflus game and the Bengals had the ball and we would not have had the timeouts to have 57 or 47 seconds left on the clock and to be able to try to score a touchdown. Like, you know what I mean?
Or we would have had the timeouts and he wouldn't have used them.
Yes.
Because that was the Thanksgiving game last year.
What is it? Detroit? Exactly. What? Exactly. So it's like the game management. And again, like, this is Ben's first 8 games coaching as the head coach. And he has the wherewithal to be able to know that kind of stuff is refreshing. I mean, that's basics, but like, we haven't had that in a long time. So like I said, to bring everything together to get the most juice out of, I don't know, the fruit. That's a stupid thing probably the most stupid thing I've ever said, but like, to get the most juice out of your players.
Juice worth the squeeze, dude. Yeah.
Juice, squeeze juice, dude. OJ Simpson. But like, I couldn't be, we as Bears fans, again, this game specifically, the whole season, this is the guy. Ben's the guy. We haven't had this in our lifetime. So let's enjoy it. Yeah. It's only going to get better. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's easy to kind of look at this and be like, okay, at least for me, the way my brain works, I want to think like, okay, I was very high on Matt Nagy in 2018, right? Is there a chance that this is a Matt Nagy situation? And obviously anything can happen. So I'm not going to say that it's absolutely impossible, but you look back on 2018 with like some hindsight, and you realize that the Bears were the Bears were carried by Vic Fangio's defense in 2018.
Yeah.
Right.
That's 100%. Like,
100%.
Yeah. The offense, like, they put up some okay numbers every once in a while, but Vic Fangio's defense was the main catalyst for the Bears winning 13 games or whatever they won, 12 games, whatever it was in 2018. The Bears are winning games by just like grit and like guts right now. And that's the kind of stuff that comes from coaching. And that stuff comes from the top. So I do think this is different. And honestly, the Bears aren't winning as many games as they did under Matt Nagy his first year. And that's okay, because I think they're building something here. That, like, the Matt Nagy era was kind of like a house of cards, right? It looked nice, but then it just blew over as soon as anything bad happened.
Yes.
And then I do think that Ben Johnson's building a strong foundation here. So I think this is different.
And Nick, that was perfectly said. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So, Drew, I want to give you the floor. I want to talk some Adam Archuleta, because for the listeners that may not have joined us after the Raiders game, we had the same crew for the Raiders game like a month ago, and Drew had some thoughts on Adam Archuleta. I was not able to really listen to the broadcast a ton because I was watching in a weird place where we didn't have sound on, but I was able to catch this game, and my God, it was insufferable. So, Drew, I'm going to give you the floor. I'm going to let you talk as long as you want to about Adam Archuleta, and just go ahead, rant, vent, whatever you want. floor is yours.
The Archuleta corner. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to rant. I want to, like, if you guys were watching this as I was, like, let's echo this again, that Adam Archuleta played for the Bears at one point in his career. It was not the longest career, and maybe he resents the Bears for what had happened, but I will say that we are catching, as I said in the preview, we are catching a string of people that seemingly hate Caleb Williams in the color commentary, because I couldn't tell you the amount of times that Adam Archuleta would just outrightly criticize Caleb for no reason, mainly on his running. At first, he was criticizing him for running. Then he was criticizing him at the end of the game for not running. And it just, he was giving credit to the Cincinnati defense for getting pressure when they only had 2 sacks, and then saying Caleb needs to be more decisive with his legs when he's essentially not a scramble quarterback, but he can move in the pocket around. It sounded so terrible, Nick. I know you heard a few of those. And I sent you guys kind of a meme of like an angry Zach Galifianakis, and it was Adam Archuleta when Caleb decides to run. Also, Adam Archuleta when he decides not to run, and he's just getting madder and madder. I want to kick it to you guys too, because there are a couple of other things that I will touch on. But did you guys catch as much bad as I was getting too?
100%.
Okay.
He was hypercritical of Caleb, even when he was doing things properly. Like all he was doing, like, again, if you listened to only the audio and you didn't like have any understanding of what the outcome of the play was, you would have thought that Caleb had a rating of like 0. It was absurd, because in my opinion, that was one of Caleb's best games of the year. Again, they put up 47 points.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be that bad.
Yeah.
If your offense is putting up 47 points, but every time it's like, I just want to see Caleb take off here. I just want to see him take off and run. It's like, okay, that can. There were some times when Archuleta might have had a good point. He was diagramming. It's like, okay, yeah. After the fact, when you break that down, like, all right, don't try to throw the 30-yard pass that's going to no one and maybe take off for 5 or 6 that you could have chunked off. But like, it was the over aggressiveness and the constant berating of Caleb's play and decision making, when again, like, okay, maybe a couple of times, but not every play. It was wild.
Mm-hmm.
And the one play that really sticks out to me, I don't remember exactly when this happened, but there was a play where the Bears were like in the red zone, might have been like inside the 10, and Rome Odunze was wide open on a cross, and Caleb threw it to him, and it was not a perfect throw. It was a little behind him, and Rome had to kind of like stop and like reach down by his hip to catch the ball, and he dropped it. And Adam Archuleta spent the entire like play clock between that play and the next play criticizing Caleb for not throwing a perfect pass there, a pass that hit his wide receiver in the hands. Again, it wasn't a perfect pass. I acknowledge that it wasn't a perfect pass, but like any broadcaster will say like, well, if Caleb just let him a little bit there, that's an easy touchdown. But as a receiver in the NFL, you got to catch that.
You got to catch the ball.
That's right. That's like the stock line for an announcer in that case. Absolutely nothing like, and again, I'm not trying to throw Rome Odunze under the bus or say that he needs to be harder on him, but like this like idea that every throw has to be perfect and everything has to be perfect. And like, you're sitting there, you got the benefit of watching this in like replay and watching hindsight and having your hindsight in there. It's like, okay, dude, he's like out there, like second year, first year in a new system, 8th game of the season, trying to figure it out. Like, dude, chill out, man. He's not like, you're not watching Tom Brady.
Exactly.
Like, it's not like a polished pro. It's just, and then like, Joe Flacco, 41 years old, whatever, he's like throwing the ball into the ground and making bad throws and doesn't say a word. It's just, I don't know.
Or blaming something else. But
right.
Let's also keep in mind that this was a former NFL safety. So
white NFL safety.
You have no understanding of like what an actual like a quarterback, you have seen it from behind the scenes or on the opposite side of the ball, but like come on, man. There were just two other instances that I have to touch on because this guy needs to get off my broadcasts. He also needs to get off CBS. The onside kick that he called, he instantly, this guy's got to have a negative call percentage for like controversial plays or something like that, because he instantly goes, yep, ball didn't go 10 yards. Moron, it hit somebody right in front of your face.
Yeah.
Like it hit that guy very blatantly in his leg. And he's like, yeah, didn't go 10 yards. Bears ball game's going to probably end. Probably didn't say exactly that, but,
but that was a gist.
In my mind, that's what was going on. And I was like, are you kidding me? They got that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I was screaming at the television at that point.
Drew, the other one, this was early in the game too. He's like, it was a DJ Moore sidelines catch. He's like, oh, I don't think his toe got in. It's like, well, his other 3 feet did. Like, I don't know what to tell you there. Like, I didn't even need instant replay. Like, they were like, I don't think he got in there.
The ball, his first foot was down, and he was like saying, yeah, his third foot didn't get down though.
Cool, man.
But
I will say one of my favorite Adam Archuleta moments in this game, though, was at the beginning of the game. They were talking about how Joe Flacco has an AC injury, like his AC joint is hurt, and he's like, yeah. And Spiro was like, Adam, did you ever play with an injured shoulder or anything like that? He's like, well, a few months ago, I slept weird on my shoulder and I couldn't throw it in my flag football game. It's like, what? This is who's calling the game as a flag football guy? Like, dude, he's talking about your NFL days, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. No, he sucks.
Yeah.
Last was at the end of the game. I had the game muted by this time. When I was searching Adam Archuleta after the game and
Adam Archuleta home address for email.
Where does this man live? It was he audibly, after Colson caught the ball and broke away, he audibly said no very loudly. And of course you can translate that however you see fit. I am going to translate it as no instead of no way, like holy cow, that happened. I'm translating it as he didn't want that to happen. They wanted the Joe Flacco storyline, all of that. But that one was the cherry on top for me from Adam Archuleta this week.
Yeah,
that is bizarre though, to get the negative reaction, because if you're a play caller and like you're trying to feed the fans, because there's no home broadcasters on the NFL. It's like you feed into the energy, like, oh my God, he's off. It's like you spin it in a positive light, because like, as a fan, you're like, what the hell is happening? This is improbable. We've never seen this before. This is crazy. The game's going crazy. And like, I always think like the Gus Johnson effect of like, no way. And he's going the distance. This is improbable. But you hear like, no.
Not just like a one syllable word.
No.
Like, give me more. Like,
no.
Holy cow, he's breaking away. Something like that. Just a no. What?
He hits you with that Darth Vader no and Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. No.com.
Oh man.
Anyway, so I don't know what the Bears broadcast schedule is the rest of the season, but God, please just get us off CBS, because I don't think the Bears are going to draw any like A teams if they do play on CBS, and I don't want to have a chance of having this crew again, because they're just the worst.
Well, what do we got? Browns and Steelers left,
because it's all about the home team, right? Because if it's in an AFC stadium, it's a CBS game. If it's at Chicago, it's
no, good point. Then I think we're out. I think we're in the clear then.
I think that's how it goes.
Yeah, right.
I'm not 100% sure that's how it goes always, but I think that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, that's a good
so
point.
They have the Steelers at home. They have the Browns at home. Yeah, I think that should be our last CBS game.
I was going to say, if that Browns game's on CBS, you bet your ass we're getting that.
Oh God, yeah. All right.
I think that's the Black Friday game, though. So
okay.
That might be the Black Friday game, so that you got limited people.
The Bears are playing the Eagles on Black Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Tried it.
Yeah. I know.
Didn't like it.
They wouldn't put the Browns on like a primetime game, I don't think so. Anyway, okay, so we talked a lot about the Bears because I think this game deserved a lot of talk because it was just an insane game.
Insane.
A lot of highs, a lot of lows, more highs than lows at the end. Bears win the game. Awesome stuff all around. So I'm going to give you guys a very difficult task right now. I'm going to give you guys a task of grading this game out because it was, it's a win. Some things look good. Some things look not so good. Drew, I'm going to kick it to you first. Let's grade the offense, grade the defense, and grade the overall.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm obviously starting with the easiest grade, and that's the offense. Hard not to give this an A, just a solid A on the offense. Can't give it an A+ because it wasn't entirely perfect. We didn't turn the ball over, which is a major plus, and you scored 47 points. So you're given a solid A there for the Bears offense. Nothing more to really talk about that. Defense and special teams, a little bit harder to grade. I'm skipping to the special teams, and I'm giving the special teams a D-. The only positive was Torrey Taylor had an absolute boomer of a punt.
Yeah.
So it could have bumped that up to a D, but every other play on special teams seemed like it was an absolute negative. So I'm going D- there. And then the defense. For me, guys, it's hard to say really that this was a complete failure on defense. There were so many components to it in such a longer game that I feel like there were some wins, there were some losses. So I'm going with a C- with the defense because you give up 42 points, even though some of it was on special teams. That's not great. The back end of the game, obviously those last two possessions were a complete failure, but everything else kind of in the middle minutia of the game was all right. It was there. You had still 3 takeaways. I know one was on the last play, but I really do think that this defense is built to hold up with this Bears offense to make wins. So A for the offense, C- for the defense, and D- for the special teams.
All right.
What's the overall?
Yeah.
Overall grade, I'm giving it a solid B because the offense carried it. It's a win. You can't say anything below 50%, but I think the offense carried so much of this game, and it came out in a win of great plays, great stats. So I'm going overall B.
All right, Jay, give us your grades.
Yeah, I mean, Drew, that sounds about right. Offense, I'm gonna go A+. I mean, 47 points is in with no defensive or special teams, points on the board. The last time the Bears scored 47 or more was 2008, and that's 17. That's tough sledding. And if you wanted to scrutinize it, like there's nitpicking you can do on the quarterback play to a certain degree. There is a little bit, but screw it. I'm doing A+. Like, I don't remember the last time I could remember, other than like a Matt Forte led Bears team where like you hand the ball off and you're going to get a chunk of 6 yards. Like that was just easy. It was just downhill. It was easy. And the offense was in control. Jekyll and Hyde, the defense, in my opinion, gets an F. That was a complete and utter failure defensively. Even in the first half when the defense looked clean, they still gave up 20 points. Sure, you can get some sacks and some turnovers, but if you're giving up 40 plus points, you can't not get an F in the NFL. So if you balance things out, maybe it says, hey, you should get a C. I'm actually not going to do that. I agree with Drew's overall grade of a B. I think that a game like this shows the fortitude and the mental toughness of a team where if things are and your back's against the wall and you did things great on offense, but the other 2 phases were an absolute fucking disaster. And we could call that what it is. Defense, special teams was probably the worst game I've ever seen the Bears play on those phases of the game. Yeah. But they still found a way to win on the road. God bless, guys. There's something magic in that little pot that maybe isn't in the stats, whether it's the coaching and the mentality of the team. Give them a B. They won on the road. It was a game that they should have won, but then they shouldn't have won, but they still won. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm going with a B.
Yeah, and so for me, I'm gonna give the Bears offense. I'm gonna give them an A as well. No, fuck, I'm gonna go A plus because just the way that they like, you could tell their game plan going to this game was run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and they just did that. They executed very well. Things got weird late, and they kind of got off script a little bit because they had to throw a lot more. But their game plan coming to this game was just pound them with the run, and they did it very well. So A plus, they executed their game plan very well. Defense, like Drew kind of said, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, there was a big chunk of this game where I thought the defense was actually pretty solid, right? And I'm not trying to say take away plays because plays happen, but if you do you take away the kick return touchdown, and then that crazy T. Higgins like 50-yard catch touchdown, which is like kind of a freak play. Bears defense played pretty solid for most of the game. They completely shut down Chase Brown in the run game. The Bengals Joe Flacco had to throw the ball like 60 times in this game. So, and then the last 2 minutes happened, which was awful, like some of the worst defense you've ever seen in your life. So I am going to give the Bears defense a D minus, or a D plus, I should say. So a D plus for the Bears defense. No, sorry, D minus. I was right the first time. D minus for the Bears defense. Overall, I'm going to give them a B minus because I think the offense just was weighted more because they just did so much better than the defense did bad. I also do want to make one declaration. I am raising the Bears ceiling in my mind. The Bears ceiling in my mind coming into this game was 8 to 9 wins. I am officially raising this Bears ceiling to could possibly get blown out in a wild card playoff game.
Sweet.
That's the ceiling for the Bears. So I don't expect that. That's not an expectation. That's a ceiling. So just because Jayla, you were talking about something about the mix in the locker room and the coaching staff, they just have this thing where they can just win these close games. In the NFL, skill will vary, to who you're playing, but for the most part, it's pretty close. They're all NFL players. Winning these close games is a really like having a guy who's been there and proven that he can win this game, and Ben Johnson. That's like just that alone was worth 4 or 5 wins a season. So if you can get those, I think getting a wild card spot is not completely out of the question at this point, halfway through the season. So I'm not expecting it, but I do think the ceiling has been raised from 8 to 9 wins to possibly losing a road wild card game.
I like that, man. I think that's spot on. If I can add to that too, a random thought I had in the shower this morning was, there was something interesting about like the Lovie Smith era Bears, where we all know we didn't have the talent on the team, but you kind of expected the Bears to be there somehow. There was some kind of like aura in the world, and some the stars kind of aligned. It was like, I know we shouldn't win this game, but damn it, we should. And I can't explain it. And I feel like that's kind of coming back, where maybe we don't have the talent on paper to be there, but there's something to rally around where like the chips just seem like they want to fall the way of this team to a certain degree. I'm not there yet where in the Lovey, it's easier to do that with a hard-nosed dominant defense than it is with a loosely good offense that's like putting up points, but like how? Right. You know what I mean? But I'm getting closer to that is my point.
And I echo that and feel it in the sense of I don't think there's a game that you can look at on the schedule or period, a team in the NFL right now that you go up against and it's a guaranteed blowout. You're going to be in the game, and it's going to be either a possession at the end of the game or something is keeping you in the game, whether that's the defense getting takeaways, the offense looking pretty stellar, which is amazing, an amazing feeling. And I echo with you, Jay.
Yeah, right on.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our Bears talk. So the Bears obviously had the craziest game of the weekend, but guys, a lot of stuff happened around the league this week. A lot of stuff, some unexpected stuff. So Jay, I'm gonna kick it over to you. Let's kind of go around the league and let's talk through some of the weird stuff that happened.
Yeah, what a great week for the Bears in general. Yeah. Obviously, we get the win, but then the rest of the NFC North and what happened there, it couldn't have been a better week for our foes as well. So we'll start with the Vikings and the Lions. The Vikings were 7.5 and then 8.5, then 9.5 point favorites against JJ McCarthy's return in Detroit, and Detroit just didn't have it. They didn't show up. JJ looked decent. Drew's nuts. JJ good ? And like, let's start there. Like, yeah, I think that's the question. Like, he looked good, but like, did he? But you guys tell me. Drew, you wrote it down. So what were your thoughts on that? And again, before I do that, 27-24 final, the Lions dropped to 5-3. Crazy. Yeah. But Drew, take us away.
Yeah, the biggest thing with JJ is I don't think he's there as a stats QB right now. And I don't think really the Vikings, it's picking the lesser of two evils in Carson Wentz or JJ, and JJ's probably the future, but he looked in this game at least like he wasn't over his head like he looked in the first half of the Bears game, first 3 quarters of the Bears game. So is he good as a quarterback? Maybe. As a stats quarterback, not right now, because I mean he threw for 143 and had a few rushes there, a touchdown score on the ground, and then a touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. I think it's more of just that, like, he's got the right coach to coach him up and potentially provide success. But the defense definitely showed up in bottling up that run. But JJ McCarthy, this didn't for any reason say to me that this was a JJ McCarthy win for the Vikings. It was a Vikings win as a whole, and definitely a defense for sure. Yeah.
Spot on, Drew. To me, this was like the Browns beat the Packers. Like, is this a blip on the radar? And I'm thinking through the lens because I'm still writing the Vikings off completely and kind of paying more attention to the Lions losing here, Nick. But like, is this a blip on the radar, or is there is there some vulnerability in this Lions team from what you saw here?
Well, I mean, one, I think it's important. Like, Brian Flores is like one of the better defensive coordinators in the NFL, the Vikings defensive coordinator. So I don't know if it's necessarily a blip on the radar, but I also don't know. I don't think the Bears can replicate like a Brian Flores defense, right? So like, it's not like a blueprint to beat the Lions or anything like that. I do think the Lions do have some like chinks in their armor. I don't think they're like a perfect team. You look at the way the Packers kind of dismantled them in the beginning of the season, and then you look at this game, like, the funny thing is that, like, the Lions are now, they're 1-2, I think, in the division. Mm-hmm. Not like, and the division as close as this, that's not a great record. So I do think the Lions are not as runaway favorites for the NFC North as I think we all kind of thought. I think that, we talked about this recently about whether we think it's the Packers or the Lions. And I think me and Jay were on the Lions.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, it's going to be funny. That Packers tie might end up being like a benefit to them because it's helping them right now. That should have been a loss, and they're in first place because of it. So I don't know. I think the Lions are still a very good team, and I think that this is just a weird. I think you chalk up to a weird week, but I do think the Lions definitely have some issues.
Yeah, kind of an any given Sunday thing, and that's been the theme of the NFL this season. Is anyone can lose at any time, and that segues perfectly into the Packers at home against the Panthers. And that was one of the worst football performances I've ever seen by a better team to a worse team. And I'm not here to say that the Panthers are terrible. Their record speaks otherwise. But we know that Bryce Young's your quarterback. That stat line in the performance, if you watch any of that game, and unfortunately I saw too much of that game somehow in the red zone, even though it was 16-13, but like I that game popped up consistently. That was an ugly game. And who had a really ugly game that we love to hate on is Jordan Love had one of the shittiest games I've seen in a long time. But the Packers dropped that game again in Lambeau to the Panthers 16-13. You could argue that you could argue both things. You could argue that the Panthers should have won that game by more. And you could argue that the Packers should have won the game by 1,000 points, right? But Very surprising to see. I guess the question is that a blip? Again, it's the same question. Is that a blip on the radar, or do the Packers have vulnerability? Like why did that happen? They were 13.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
How do you explain it?
I mean, I explain it simply by, I think Matt LaFleur is kind of getting a little conservative play calling. And I think that his play call, he's not as like creative as he was maybe when he first got there, and he's kind of predictable calling plays. To Jordan Love is a volatile quarterback. He can have games like against the Steelers where everybody was fawning over him like he was the best quarterback to ever exist. And then he can have games like this where he is just throwing the ball anywhere but his receiver's hands. And then, I mean, also, I don't know if I don't know exactly when this happened because I was very locked down the Bears game, but Tucker Kraft being injured, which I'm sure we were going to talk about in a second. Tucker Kraft tearing his ACL. I don't know when that happened in the game, but Tucker Kraft is kind of the key to their offense. He is their best player by maybe him and the running back,
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, him and Josh Jacobs. But Tucker Kraft is a pass catcher, easily their number one option, easily their best option. He's injured. He's out for the year. I think that hurts their chances a lot because I think that he really opens everything up for everybody else. So him not being there to kind of take up a lot of that, and he's also like their deep threat too. By the way, like he's not just like he's a very solid, versatile tight end. Missing him is going to be a problem. I don't know. Jordan Love, just seeing him perform the way he performed yesterday really kind of makes me like breathe a little easier because I was starting to kind of like. People were really starting to like really get cocky about Jordan Love, talking about Packer fans specifically after a couple good games. It's good that he can throw these stinkers in there too, because this was one of the I texted you guys about that first interception, interception that he threw, where he threw an interception to like triple coverage, and it wasn't like fourth down or anything like that. He just wanted to throw it deep, and then after that, like 20 minutes later was when he had that fourth down play where he threw it across his body to like literally nobody. It was one of the worst throws I've ever seen, one of the worst plays I've ever seen. So yeah, they have problems. I mean, if you can lose at home to the Panthers, you're like, the Panthers are not a bad team. We talk about like they're 4-3, 4-4, 5 and I don't know what their record is, but they're like now. Right around. Okay. They're over 500.
Yeah.
They're good at home. They're not good on the road. That's kind of been the Panthers this season. And to lose to the Panthers at home, that's a tough loss. Like that's, I mean, I don't know if that's a blip. And like when you're the Packers and your two losses have been to the Browns and the Panthers, and you tied the Cowboys, who, by the way, we just watched get shit pumped by the Cardinals. Like the Packers can lose to anybody anytime.
Exactly.
It feels much, and I'm not by any means supporting the Packers, but it feels a lot like you're playing down to your competition. You play to your competition no matter what. Like the week before, they had just shit pumped the Steelers.
Yeah.
In a game where they went to Pittsburgh and it was in the bright lights. This seemed like more of it's a 12 o'clock game. We're playing the Panthers. We should probably win it. We're going to play down to our competition, and look what happened. I don't know if you catch that with the Packers in the playoffs or whatever, or even a game against the Bears, but it definitely shows you, it tells you a lot about the structure of that team of like, you need something to get up for them to play a football game. And clearly it wasn't there this weekend. And clearly it wasn't for the Browns. Clearly it was barely for the Cowboys, but that was a shootout. But it seems like they are a team certainly that will overlook other teams when they don't have a reason to get up.
Yeah, and they got the Eagles next week, so there's some room for doubt for the Packers going forward. And again, that was one of the worst games I've ever seen a quarterback have in Jordan Love, honestly, and from Bryce Young. That was probably the worst quarterback game I've seen in a long time. And thank God, because we've said it for multiple seasons. Like, we're not sold on Jordan Love, and this kind of confirms that shadow of doubt that he should have, because those were some inexcusable throws that he had that put his team squarely for the loss there. So it is odd to see, though, the Packers' 2 losses on the season, favored by 13.5, by more than 2 touchdowns against the Browns, and lost both of those games. So I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see how that continues. But the positive news is Packers 5-2-1, Lions 5-3, Bears 5-3, all just like that, and the division's quote unquote wide open. So it's reason to be a little bit optimistic as a Bears fan. Let's continue around the NFL here. The Bills Chiefs game, America's game of the week, 3:25 slate. The Bills kind of continue their regular season dominance over the Chiefs. Josh Allen looked phenomenal. I'm assuming you guys were watching that game. Is that accurate?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any takeaways there? Is there reason to think that, hey, the Bills kind of from their hot start, cold kind of last couple of weeks, are they still kind of the front runners in the AFC in your opinion, or is it still going through the Chiefs after this game?
Well, I think this helps, home field, right? That's always a big plus. This is these are going to be 2 teams that are going to be there at the end. So you win this game head to head, that's going to give you an advantage in the if they have a similar record or the same record, that's going to give you the advantage. It's going to give you home field advantage, which I think is important. The Bills have lost to the Chiefs in Buffalo, so it's not the ultimate advantage, but it is helpful. Like, you'd rather play them at home than go down to Kansas City and Arrowhead. So I do think that is good. I mean, the AFC, honestly, in my mind, the AFC is kind of wide open because there's just, the Ravens are going to come back. We know the Ravens are going to be there at the end. It's going to be the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Bills, like it kind of always is. A couple of their teams are kind of right on the fringe, but I don't know. I don't know if this puts that, because this is what we all expected, right? The Bills are going to win this game. They're going to play again the AFC Championship game of the divisional, and Chiefs will probably win that one. So I don't know. It doesn't really change my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that stood out to me is, again, home field advantage is big. They're 4-1 at home versus what? 2-1 away, but I mean, still winning record. But they're still behind New England in their division, so it's not like it's a cakewalk for the Bills to get into home field advantage in the AFC. And yes, Josh Allen looked good, but a lot of this game just seemed like it could go either way. It was going to be one of those that I think I said in the preview show, it was going to go down to the last score, or it was going to be a one-score game where it was a last possession sort of thing, and that's what you got. And I don't know, you certainly in the playoffs can't trust the Bills in one-score games, because history could repeat itself to where they are just they're not finishing, or they don't have the ball in their hands at the last possession. So, continue their regular season dominance of the Chiefs, but it's more of just like, that's a game that happened. They really need to perform and get to the playoffs to prove that they're the team for me, in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs dropping to 5-4 is interesting too. I think that's kind of, they're still above 500, but at Broncos versus Colts. And then you got the Cowboys, the Texans, Chargers, and Titans. You can count that one for what it is. And then the Broncos again, like their remainder of their schedule isn't easy, right? It's not the most difficult thing in the world, but it's not easy. At Broncos versus Colts, like those are 2 of the best teams in the AFC. So like you watch out. It wouldn't be crazy to see the Chiefs under 500 in 2 weeks. It's not out of the question. So
they're 5-4 in their division and 3rd in their division too.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's nuts.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye out for that. That is strange to see. We'll move on, and we'll kind of quickly get through the rest of these. But Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers give the Colts a rare loss on the season. I think Danny Dimes had 5 turnovers this game. So we had them on Pumpkin Watch a little bit. Is this Pumpkin Watch confirmed, or is this, an anomaly? It was interesting to see the Steelers defense look so dominant against the Colts offense that was just carving everyone up and just pushing over anybody. Jonathan Taylor didn't really get room to run. They were kind of playing from behind. If that's the script that the Colts have to play through and have to put the game in Danny Dimes' hands, like I don't know if that's going to be sustainable. I guess I don't really have a question there. So so that's kind of the recap. I think we'll roll on unless you guys have anything you wanted to call out in that game.
Just really, the Colts turned the ball over, I think 6 times total. They still lost by a possession. I think the Colts are still a pretty good team.
Yeah, that's a good point, Nick. That is a good point. I think maybe, everything kind of went well for the Steelers, and that's how they kind of won that game.
Yeah.
Pats on a roll, take their 6th in a row over the Falcons. 24-23. It was a lot closer. The Falcons ended up covering the spread, but that was kind of an ugly game. Yeah. Everyone wants to say Drake May's kind of the best quarterback from the class. Drew, where do you fall on that? Is Drake May the guy?
I don't know if he's the guy. He is the guy for New England for sure. When you can do it with that sort of cast of characters that are behind you and not I would say a 1A running back. Yes, Travion Henderson was there, but it seems like they do that carousel all the time. I think he's good. I think he's very good. I think that he is going to be – he's kind of cemented himself in my mind to be a long-term solution for New England at the quarterback position. Now, is he going to have a better career than Caleb? Is he going to have a better career than Jaden Daniels? I don't know. I'm not ready to have that conversation just yet. I'm sure a bunch of other journalists are. But right now, the Pats look like a team in the AFC that's going to be a solid, if not top team in the playoffs. And that's scary to think about. And thankfully, we're not in the AFC, but you got a good coach in Vrabel. You got a good system there in New England. I don't want New England to win. I don't. We've seen too much success in New England.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think really quick, just think the Patriots are going to have a good record this season. They're going to go to the playoffs, and they're probably that's just, they might even win the division. But again, I mentioned this last week, and I think it bears repeating again. The Patriots this season have beaten the Raiders. They've beaten the Dolphins. They beat the Panthers. They beat the Bills, which is a good win. They beat the Saints. They beat the Titans. They beat the Browns. And now they beat the Falcons. Like, this is just a list of the worst teams in the NFL.
Yes, it is.
Minus the Bills. So, I mean, I don't know if the Patriots are like a good team that's going to contend for the Super Bowl this year. I think they're definitely because the rest of their schedule also very easy. They still have the Jets. They still have the Dolphins. They still have the Giants. Like they have 2 games against the Jets still, and the Dolphins 1 and the Giants. So like they're going to make the playoffs. They might even win that division, but this team is not a Super Bowl contender. They're just not. And Drake May, he plays well, but again, they haven't really played any good defenses this season. So it's hard to judge him based on, playing these, again, literally if I made you list the worst teams in the NFL, that would be the list of teams you would give me. So I don't think he's bad. I think that this MVP talk is getting out of hand because they've, you win 6 games in a row. That, makes sense, and Patriots and all that stuff. But if you look at it, it's like, okay, he hasn't really played anybody. So, yeah. I mean, you play you play who's in front of you, but still, I don't know.
No, that's a great point, Nick. I think everyone kind of remembers the Bills win as the flashy, okay, these guys are better than the Bills.
And that's a really good win for sure.
It is, but you're spot on in a couple of things on both sides of the coin there. Who's Drake May throwing to, right? Because I know Stephon Diggs is on their squad, but he's not getting most of that booty, and who the hell else knows? So that's pros.
Yeah,
Drake May's doing this with not great talent around him on the receiving corps. Cons, he's been sacked most in the NFL. Is Drake May as well? So we'll see what happens when they play more elite teams. There's not a lot of elite teams in front of them. So I agree with you, Nick. Here's my question that's off the script a little bit. And Nick, I'm going to throw this one to you, and don't hate me for this, but this is the Colin Cowherd, shock jock question. Are the Bears a better football team this season if Drake May is the quarterback instead of Caleb?
But, I don't, to be totally fair, I have not watched a lot of Patriots games, so I don't really watch. I'm not as in tune with what he's doing. I will say that the Bears' offensive line, the left tackle spot specifically, has been and still kind of is an issue. Not that he's getting sacked a lot too, but Caleb is much better at getting out of sacks than Drake May is. I know Drake May is a more mobile guy than you think he is, but he's not. Like, Caleb does some magician shit back there to get out of sacks. But I do think Drake May is probably a better drop back passer. Yeah. So maybe they might be, but I still think Caleb, I just think that he's got like superstar potential. So,
he's got the
but yes, to answer your question, I think the Bears offense might be a smoother run machine today if Drake May is a quarterback. Yeah.
Fair. How about you in the long run, Drew? Are you, if you could do it all over again for not just this season, but for the long run, who you taking? Caleb?
We're 1.5 seasons in to this whole experiment with everyone. So I'm not ready to crown anybody in any situation. I'm doing it all over again, and I'm picking Caleb because he's got the most talent in that class, as you should.
Amen, brother.
So that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
Good.
the right answer.
That is the right answer. Absolutely. Let's go to another quarterback from the same draft class. Sunday Night Football. Commanders down by a lot late in the game, keeping Jaden in. Jaden's arm explodes. Bummer. That was gruesome. I didn't even watch it a second time because I was like, you know what? I've seen enough of these injuries. I don't need to see. I know what happened. What do you guys think about that? I know Dan Quinn came out today saying, hey, that's my bad. I shouldn't have had him in.
No shit. Like, unbelievable. But here's the thing. If you guys rewind it back to where we were talking about picking Jaden and Caleb, and a big thing with Jaden is that dude's a string bean.
Yeah, he is.
And we're waiting for a injury, maybe not a gruesome injury like this, but like we're waiting for an injury because he scrambles at any time that he has open space. And it's only a matter of time in this league where you scramble and something bad happens.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say about it is I had a chat that somebody could not stop posting the injuries. Like, he had a Twitter link and he kept posting it. It was like one of your friends, Nick, you talked about earlier or a couple of weeks ago, where like I kept texting like stop and then a bunch of periods to kind of like that's unfortunate. I feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, like the writing was on the wall with this kid of he doesn't have the full build to take full on hits throughout a full season and sustain full health.
Yeah.
I think.
Go for it, Nick.
I'll just say, it's one thing if you're a quarterback who can who runs but is really good about like Lamar Jackson, for example. He is a bigger guy, but also Lamar Jackson is probably the thing he's the most elite at is not taking that big hit.
Yeah.
Sliding, going out of bounds, avoiding the big hit. If you're a slender guy who's run first and you are not as adept to missing these big hits, that's a bad recipe.
100%. And, to bring it back to the Drake May versus Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels thing too, you see this all the time that a young quarterback can be the toast of the town for a season, a half season, a 3-game stretch. And then just like that, they're forgotten about. CJ Stroud, for example, he was the rookie of the year, and everyone's like, this is the guy in Dynasty. He's the one of one. He's the guy in the NFL. And then just like that, the league figures him out. That's why Caleb's the guy, in my opinion, is because he hasn't reached his full potential yet. And things can take a season and a half. We don't have to 2 seasons to become great full potential quarterbacks. It can take some time in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I think people lose that perspective far too often, especially in today's day and age too, where it's like, what have you done for me last week? That's who you are. Not so fast, my friend, right? Quarterbacks can progress in this league and take a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons to become what they are or what they're going to be. So I just want to have that perspective to the listeners, to ourselves as well. Caleb's going to be fine. All right. This brings me back to that. Drake May is the toast of the town. Everyone wants to crown him as the best quarterback in that draft class. We'll see. We'll see. So really quick too, I wanted to hit on this. The Seahawks looked in that game. The Seahawks did look completely dominant. Sam Darnold looked fantastic again. Jackson Smith in Jigba, I think, needs some talking about as well. That guy's an absolute freak show. He's giving me Justin Jefferson vibes just on the West Coast, and he's not getting the attention that he deserves quite yet, because he's one of those guys where it's so effortless that he's open, and it's like, how is he can't be that good, but he is. So watch out for the Seahawks. I think that's one of the things in the NFC that kind of is just way under the radar, is how good that Seahawks team is. The coaching staff is fantastic. Sam Darnold, as much as I hate to say it, is not pumpkining. I keep on waiting for that to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's been blessed by 2 absolutely phenomenal coaches in a row, and they're maxing out his ability. With that said, we'll get through this so we can get to the podium list. Injuries were, I guess, kind of all around this week. One that stood out to me, Joe Alt, ankle out for the season. The Chargers can't catch a break on their offensive line. Just
never can.
It's brutal. If there's one team in the NFL that can get over those type of injuries, maybe it's the Chargers, but I think it's just they're out of runway and out of bodies there.
Yeah.
Puka's back, being injured again, unfortunately. Aaron Jones, welcome back, welcome out. AC joint, he's gone again. Old man time, the Grim Reaper, whatever you want to call it. I think you're old. And CJ Stroud, man, a concussion for him. That was, I swear, if CJ Stroud could have stayed healthy in that game, I think the Texans would have won that game. But just a quick,
I think the over would have hit.
Yeah, I think yeah. For sure. Anything else that you guys wanted to bring up? I know there's some trade deadlines tomorrow. I'll toss it over to you guys. I am trying to go a little bit quick because I know we're getting a little long in the tooth here.
I just wanted to ask you guys really quick trade deadline is what, tomorrow?
Tomorrow,
I think.
Yeah.
Are we thinking that the Bears are going to try to move for anything, or is it just we're standing pat, we have what we have, and there's nothing else that needs to be done?
I could see Ryan Poles trading a 4th round pick for absolutely nothing. Seems historically accurate.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like I wouldn't hate trading for some kind of like younger defensive end guy, like, right? That would probably be, or like a corner. Those are like the 2 spots I think they probably need the most. But yeah, like Jay said, there's a good chance we trade for a receiver or something stupid, and it's gonna go very poorly. But I don't know. I'd be okay if they kind of stood pat at this trade deadline, personally.
Yeah, same here, Nick. I do feel like the Eagles always kind of eke out these trades near the deadline where they're giving up, day 2, day 3 pick for something impactful. Yeah. Jalen Phillips from Miami, he exploded his ACL a couple of years ago, but he's pretty damn good, and I can see him having an impact. And that was a trade that just got made. But Drew, you asked the question originally. What do you think? Bears deadline, what are your thoughts?
I mean, the defense needs so much help right now with the health problems that I could see. Yes, we added CJ Gardner-Johnson, but I could see a couple more depth pieces going. Just don't give up too much here. We don't need to give away draft capital for something that's not going to be a longevity piece here for us. So I'm with Nick. If you stand pat, that's fine. If you're going to go out and try to make an impact for a defensive player, it better be like now that Dio's down. If you can get a defensive end that wants to move somewhere, maybe that's a piece that you move on. But I think now, since he got injured this week, like if you're just starting talks on that today, then it's kind of hard to say, oh yeah, you're in the game for anything big, because people are going to want to probably try to gouge you for anything that has a decent price in this league right now.
Yeah, the good news is the front office isn't under a contract where they have to fight for their life and try to mortgage the future for now. And we're not in a point where we need to mortgage anything for now, because this isn't the year, right? It's stay true and don't fuck up. You know, I think that's the kind of the mantra there. So yeah. Anyway, I know we're a long-awaited podium list. Drew, do you want to sail us into that podium list that we've been looking forward to?
Let's get to it. We'll get this executed, get it done, but really quickly tell you all who it's brought to us by this week. Barely Qualified Podium List is proudly fueled by the fizz of Glen Rock Pop, Lake County's legendary soda revival. Crafted in pure cane sugar, poured into glass bottles, and bursting with nostalgic flavor, Glen Rock is more than just a drink. It's a hometown icon. Whether you're sipping on orange, cream soda, or Nick's personal MVP, the all-new lime, Glen Rock is bringing the joy back to every corner of Lake County. Want to catch their pop-up trailer in action? Follow Glen Rock Pop on Facebook for the latest event stops. Ready to stock up? Head to glenrockpop.com to find your retailers near you. From tailgates to game days, Glen Rock Pop is the ultimate sideline sip. Don't just drink, celebrate. All right, boys. I don't want to speed through this. I know we are running a little bit long, but still want to get to this and give it its deserved time. Podium list this week. Thought about it. Kind of wanted to change it up, get back to some things that we love of movies and cinema and just comedy and fun. So this week we're doing the best comedic actors. Our best comedic actors. And a little twist that I had on it that I thought before the show is to give me either your best performance or your best acting in a movie, comedic acting. And as always, for the podium list, we're doing a gold, silver, and bronze picks. So we go in order of a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2. The order started. I randomized it before this. It starts with Nick, Drew, Jay, then Drew, Jay, Nick, and Jay, Nick, Drew. So, Nick, take it away. You got the 101.
You know, for when I first heard this, there was one name that came to me, but I'm actually going to go to a different name that kind of came to me a second later. I'm taking Jim Carrey for my 101. Jim Carrey, obviously, Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, The Mask. You look at like Liar Liar. You look at some of his more recent movies, like The Cable Guy was a good one. Then you look at like the movie Yes Man, like in the past 10 years, was a pretty funny movie. But like Dumb and Dumber really is the one for me that kind of put Jim Carrey number one. That's my favorite comedy movie of all time. So Jim Carrey.
Yeah. I love it. He also has some sneaky, heavily comedic performances in the new Sonic movies. If you haven't watched them all, he is hilarious as Dr. Robotnik. Just classic Jim Carrey acting that I love. So that was actually my 101 that I had. So I'm a little mad at you that you switched, but I am gonna switch to my 2, and I think maybe where you were thinking or where you were going. I'm going with Chris Farley. Maybe that's not what you were going with, but Chris Farley, yes, an actor that was taken from us too young, but Tommy Boy for me is just an all-time Beverly Hills Ninja. There's so many to just all of his work on SNL. He is just, he'll get me. He'll tickle my laughing fancy anytime I watch him. Living in a van down by a river, you just can't overspeak. But my overall best for him is Tommy Boy. I could watch that anytime and just laugh no matter.
So funny. Yeah, that's a great pick. That's not where I was going. He's on my list, but that's not where I was thinking first. But that's a great pick.
Man, this is such a good podium list because I think if you go 25 deep, I think as soon as we kind of landed on this being the topic or the list, if you will, there's so many good ones. However, I think the top 5 is pretty tight. My 101 is still there, and it's Robin Williams for me. I go immediately to Mrs. Doubtfire. It's just in the age where we grew up. That was like my first, whiff of Robin Williams. It was just so great. But I mean, I don't even know how many, the Genie, Aladdin, there's right in that 90s kind of run after it. Hook. The list goes on and on. Jumanji, The Birdcage, which I didn't watch until a little bit later, is probably the funniest Robin Williams movie out there, if not one of the funnier movies. Yeah, Death to Smoochie. I mean, it truly, yeah. Patch Adams. But
Hilarious movie.
It was very good. But yeah, for me, it's Robin.
Yeah, that's great. I definitely on my list. Awesome pick.
Yeah, I had all 3 of those inside top 5 easily. Robin Williams is another actor, lost too young, even though he was a little bit older. But getting into silver here, I will be next. It'll be Drew J. Nick. Mine is he is just churns out comedy movies. I like his younger movies more than most recent. I'm going with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler, I could watch Happy Gilmore all the time. The Happy Gilmore 2 we've already talked about it on this podcast, but Happy Gilmore for me, Billy Madison, Dirty Work, even some of his smaller roles that he just pops up in, and another SNL guy. Like, he is just hilarious in his younger age. To me, he's lost some slapstick comedy in the past couple of years for me, but I think Adam Sandler is there for sure as a top comedic actor in my lifetime, and I will watch. Even though they might be bad, I'll watch any movie that he puts out for sure.
Yeah, Drew, this was the one that I thought of right off the bat.
Yeah.
Billy Madison is one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, when I was a kid, I'd go to my grandparents' house in the summer, and I would spend all day there, and they had a bunch of home movies and bad VHSs and stuff. But my uncle rented Billy Madison from Blockbuster and never returned it and left it there, and I watched that every day my entire childhood. I love that movie. So yeah, Adam Sandler, very high on my list.
Same thing I did with Happy Gilmore. Just can't stop watching it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little surprised Sandler wasn't in the gold list for us. That's probably a miss on my part, but it's hard to deny the Sandman. Shoot. So I'm gonna go back to another SNL alum and Will Ferrell. Just keep it short, keep it simple. You got your old schools, you got your Anchormans, you got your Zoolanders, you got hell, even your Austin Powers back in the day. And I mean, again, when we were growing up, that was peak Will Ferrell time. So loved it. Still love it.
Yeah. There's anything of the Will Ferrell tropes that he does that he just makes funny. I don't think I've seen him do a serious movie other than there's one that I can think of, but I forgot the name of it. Will Ferrell he's amazing.
Yeah. He went on a run there in the early 2000s of just the funniest movies you've ever seen in your life. Like Old School, Anchorman, those two, those movies, that run was unbelievable. So yeah, he definitely deserves to be on this list. Elf, by the way, great movie.
Yeah,
holiday season.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to go a little bit of a throwback here. I'm going to go with a guy. I'm taking John Candy. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is another one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. The Great Outdoors is kind of the same exact movie, but outside instead of in a car and trains and stuff. Great movie. But John Candy's small contribution to Home Alone is one of my favorite cameos that's ever existed. So, and
polka, polka, polka.
Yeah, the thing in the Midwest. Yeah, the Kenosha Kickers, man.
Yeah.
And then also just got to shout out Spaceballs, Barf. So, John Candy. I love John Candy. Another guy gone too soon, but love John Candy.
Yeah.
It's a big John Maxwell guy. I grew up with a lot of John Candy from the old school, if you will. Absolutely.
Yeah.
John Candy. Good. All right. Ron's going to Jay.
Oh, to me already. Okay. Well, I'm going to stick in the old school because this is a lot of the comedy movies, and again, sticking on the John Maxwell theme, but he was a huge Steve Martin fan. Therefore, I was a huge Steve Martin fan. The Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, honestly, kind of I think it's one of the funniest movies of all time. It still holds up, and it is so classically Steve Martin, just put together in that movie. But again, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is well. Yep. Father of the Bride was a huge Maxwell movie too. Still is to this day. Like truly the list is out of this world. But Steve Martin's just like kind of dry. The way he presents and delivers is so uniquely fun. And I just love the guy. So give me Steve Martin.
Jay, that was going to be my pick right here, Steve Martin. And I actually do have Dirty Rotten Scoundrels written down as like, I never it was on Comedy Central a lot, like when we were like in middle school or something. Cause I watched it a bunch. It's a very funny movie. Him, Michael Caine, very funny movie. Did you ever see the remake relatively recently?
I did.
With Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway?
Yes.
Might have been the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
Really bad.
Absolutely bad. It was like almost like shot for shot remake of this movie. They called it something else, and it was just way, way worse. Like everything was worse, like significantly worse.
The dynamic between Steve Martin and Michael Caine was like, it was the best casting combination for that movie. Yeah. I think of all time.
Yeah. Oh, so good. All right. But yeah, great pick. I love Steve Martin. I'm going to this is kind of a deep cut. I'm going to go with somebody who, I don't know if it was on any of you guys' list, but honestly, one of the funniest actors to ever exist. I would have taken this with my gold pick if it was like truly like who makes you laugh the hardest. I'm going to take Leslie Nielsen.
That was, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Leslie Nielsen, like Airplane, the Naked Gun movies, like just this like dry delivery of like just being so fucking funny. I love he was my dad was a big Leslie Nielsen fan. I grew up watching a lot of like the Naked Gun movies, which looking back, probably not super appropriate for like a 9-year-old to be watching, but I did.
It was the 90s.
Yeah, it was the 90s. Give us a break. Airplane is just like pound for pound the funniest movie ever made. I think it's so funny. Every single line in that movie is something that like a quote that made it into pop culture. You don't even realize it's from that movie, but it is. Like Airplane is just a very, very funny movie. So yeah, Leslie Nielsen.
Has the remake of Naked Gun come out yet?
It did.
It's on streaming now.
Okay, good.
I haven't seen. My dad loved it. He definitely shouted, like said, I need to watch it, but his movie taste isn't exactly the best, but I am going to give this one a shot.
Yeah, I gotta give that a shot.
I love the Naked Gun movies. 2, the trailer for it had like them all like honoring their dads.
Yes.
And then like the OJ Simpson, the guy's like, nah, never mind.
Nah.
And also I love Liam Neeson in comedy. Like he's very funny.
There's one clip of that movie that was like, who's the actor? Who's Taken?
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
He it's like, you killed my brother. And he's like, yeah, you'll have to be more specific. And he's like, shot him in the back. He's like, could be thousands. He's like, white guy. Oh, so you're Barry Nielsen's brother. Oh, perfect.
Do you remember? Like it was so long ago, but when oh god, who was the original Office guy?
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky.
I know exactly who you're talking about, and that clip is.
I've got full-blown AIDS. It's just the best. I'd like to try sketch comedy.
Oh, if you haven't watched a clip of Ricky Gervais and Liam Neeson like doing improvisational comedy, look that up because it's fucking hilarious too.
So good.
Man. All right, I'm going more of a recent, but he's been around for a while and probably not on any of your lists, but he tickles my fancy currently and some of the past that he's done. I'm going with Jack Black.
Yeah.
I had him
Jack Black, School of Rock. Well, the number one for me ultimately, and I'll rewatch it multiple times, is The Pick of Destiny. That movie gets me. Kung Fu Panda. He's done a ton lately, and is Jumanji's, the remakes, all of those are great for me.
I love Saving Silverman. I think that movie is so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep doing they're on the walkie-talkies and they keep making the sound.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so funny.
Orange County too.
Orange County,
yeah.
Oh
God.
So that's our list.
Wait, what was the one? What was the one where he dated Gwyneth Paltrow, but she was massive?
Shallow Hell.
Yeah. Good one. But we'll put that list out for you guys. As always, give us some input. Tell us who you're picking, who we might have missed, what you want to see next on the podium list. We'll keep doing that for you. But we're going to wrap up pretty quickly here since we're running long. But closing thoughts this week, I'm going to kick around to Nick first on closing thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, closing thoughts, pretty simple. Just, it's a good time of year to be doing, like right now, we're doing a lot of the like housework stuff. Like I said, I cleaned the garage this Saturday and feel like I'm doing this never ending painting. I've been painting my house for like a year straight. So maybe just get a professional. They'll have it done in like 48 hours versus like doing it in like the 45 minutes of spare time you have a day. But anyway, just I think it's like the weather's still kind of nice. So I don't know, just take advantage of this. That's what we like to do, is like kind of take advantage of this before we really kind of hole up for the winter and get into our den for like hibernation coming up soon. So trying to make the house look nice. But that's what we've been really up to in the Labrys house over the last few weeks.
Yeah,
that's it.
Got to keep it together. And we're about to get into hibernation season. So
yeah.
All right, Jay, what do you got to close with?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of hibernation season, I am putting the blubber on because I have a whole box full of candy that I have confiscated from my children from trick-or-treating, and I am funneling straight into my gut. So I don't know if anyone else is in the same boat, but I need to get this candy away from me, and I might just be funneling into the garbage because it's going anywhere but the garbage right now. So not really a closing thought, just more of a statement. Help. I gotta get this candy away from me.
You did something active on Sunday of running a what was that, a 15K?
I did. I ran a 15K on Sunday before the Bears game, and that was very fun. The city of Chicago showed up. There were 40,000 people running that race, which was crazy. Wow. And after mile 7 concluded, there were some very nice fan participants that were offering free shots of Malort, and I sure as hell took one for my last couple of miles, and it was the wrong decision. So I think I won't do that again.
Oh man!
Well, hats off to you for doing that. You got to keep everything polite. But you probably put it back in the candy and the beer, but yeah. So my only closing thought that I thought of this week is as soon as November 1 turns around, it seems like the Christmas season is already upon us. You see it on the TV, you see it in people's households. They're putting up their trees already. Let's back it off a little bit, because we still got a big holiday, one of my favorite holidays coming up in Thanksgiving, to where we We get to eat, we get to celebrate football, we get to see great football. And let's not jump the gun too early to say, you know, we're still 2 months out from Christmas, but it's already in there. So like if you're out there and you're decorating your house, okay, but we got a major holiday coming up here soon that that brings us just about everything that makes America and makes our nation great in Thanksgiving. So don't skimp on your Thanksgiving here, folks. And that's what I'm closing with. And we're going to close out this show. As always here, I thank you, Nick, for being with us. Thank you, Jason, for being here with us. I'm Drew Bailey. We are Barely Qualified. As always, guys, we'll catch you next week on the flip side. Well, we'll catch you on Thursday on the flip side for a preview show. Right? And go Bears.
Thank you for listening to the Barely Qualified podcast. Like, comment, subscribe for more on a bi-weekly basis.